All right, guys, heading into Tuesday's session, we've got our secondary strength. Now, our secondary strength is going to range between a squatting pattern. Now, today's session, we've got thrusters. And in today's set of thrusters, we're going to go for 4 sets of 8, building to a moderate to challenging effort. Now, what I want to try to emphasize of that moderate to challenging effort is 8 reps is enough where we can get some reps in and cycle the rate or get our cycle rate down. But at the same time, don't feel so rushed and compromise our mechanics. And what I mean by that compromise mechanics is compromising our timing. So on a thruster, we want to think about that barbell is resting on our shoulders, just like we would in a traditional front squat. At the same time, we need to make sure that our hands are staying on the bar. So not just going to a fingertip, because then otherwise we're going to have that weird split hand press holding onto the barbell in a really bad position. So to start, get yourself in a rack position, clean it, take it from a rack, hold the fingertips. Think about your pinky finger on the bar. We're going to squat down. And once we get about 3/4 of the way up out of the squat, we can then drop our elbows and think about jumping the weight off our shoulders. We are not pressing the weight off our shoulders. The press doesn't come until the very end, just like we would in a push press. In a push press, we want to dip and jump the weight off our shoulders and then press the very last end of it. Same thing with the thrusters. Once we come out of that squat, dip and jump just like you would on a traditional wall ball. Now, the other part of the timing is re-racking it. So when we are lowering that bar down, we don't want to descend into our squat too soon. We want to think about meet the bar at the shoulders before we drop into it. Or in other words, what I like to try to think of it as meeting the bar as if I was meeting a power clean. So when we bring that bar down to about forehead or nose range of motion, then think about receiving it on the shoulders. So kind of almost let it drop onto that shelf and drop into the squat, just like as if we were to receive a power clean, or in other words, a squat clean. That way we don't find ourselves squatting too soon and then the bar path getting away from us. Our goal with the thruster is to keep the bar in a linear path, right? So straight up, straight down, and trying to minimize any of this around the face, or even worse, folding forward in the bottom of our squat just because maybe the bar path was a little bit forward and ends up pulling us up onto our toes. So we have 4 sets of 8. The goal is to keep all 8 reps in a row. Doesn't mean you have to cycle them for speed, but 8 in a row. So that's thruster, bring it, reset, reorganize, squat, thruster. So you can break it down into small segmented reps instead of cycling it quickly. But the more we can cycle it, the faster, obviously the faster we go, but also the less time under tension we have, which may allow us to go a little bit heavier, as long as we can keep that straight bar path. Now, once we have finished that thruster for our secondary strength, we're going to go ahead and move into 12, 9, 6, 3, 4 time of clusters and bar facing burpees. Now, this is going to be with a light barbell. So we have the 65 and a 95-pound bar. And what we're looking for in a cluster is essentially a squat clean thruster. We're going to take the bar from the ground every rep, receive it in a clean position, follow it below parallel, and then thrust it out overhead. So the rep starts at the bottom, must pass below parallel in our squat, and then ends at the top. Now, whether we decide to go singles or if we can cycle these, even better. Our goal should be to maintain a nice steady cadence for that first round of 12, get into a good breathing pattern, and just focus on quality of the mechanics. Once you've finished off that first set of 12, we got 12 bar-facing burpees. Drop to the ground, chest to the ground, chest and thighs to the ground, hop up, jump, and jump over the bar. If we need to scale, we can step. Otherwise, let's try to practice jumping, 2-foot takeoff, so that way our center of mass crosses over the bar with both feet off the ground. Now, once we finish the 12 burpees, then we go to the 9 thrust clusters, 9 burpees, 6, 6, 3, and 3, and done. Again, we're working with a 65 and a 95-pound barbell, so our goal should be able to keep that bar moving consistently, if not unbroken. So if you have to break it up, that's fine, but don't waste too much time resting in between the transition just to get back on the bar. Try to think quick transitions, and most of the workout's done in the first round. So that's all we got for today.